All right, y'all, welcome back. Assessment and grading. We do not use points, percentages, or letter grades in our class. The only letter grade you will find will come at the end of the semester when I submit your final course grade to the college. This means that there are no point or percentage values ascribed to any coursework, and you will not see any points, percentages, or letter grades appear in Canvas, with the exception of a number rating for the polished drafts of each major essay project, and that's explained below. Only major essay projects, which are the summative work, are directly counted toward a student's final grade in our course. For each major essay project, the polished draft will be assessed on a 0 to 4 scale according to the standards outlined in each prompt. To be sure, the 0 to 4 scale does not refer to points or percentages. Rather, each of these numbers represents the following characteristics. A 4 means that that piece of writing exceeds the minimum expectations. A 3 means that that piece of writing meets the minimum expectations. A 2 means that that piece of writing does not meet the minimum expectations. A 1 means that that piece of writing drastically falls short of meeting the minimum expectations. And then a 0 means that there's no submission, no evidence for me to assess. So in other words, the student didn't submit the piece of writing. So again, I just want to clarify, these are not points. It's not 4 points, 3 points, 2 points. It's just the number 4 is the symbol that represents this characteristic. Okay, so that's what these represent. So these are the only numbers that you'll really see are going to be ascribed to your the drafts of the major essay projects. Now, typically, I will give the first draft of an essay project a number rating, but that's only to let you know what that piece of writing is looking like at that point in time, just so that you know what to target your attention on or focus on for when you revise and continue to compose to submit the polished draft, which is the one that will directly count toward your final grade. To ensure a more successful performance on each major essay project, students will complete various activities, what we call the formative work, throughout the course, designed to help them practice the skills needed for academic writing. In any learning situation, it is important for a student to be able to make mistakes and learn from them. Whether in sports, music, cooking, or a college course, regular practice is essential to growth. With this vital aspect of learning in mind, all formative work in our course is designed to function as practice for the major essay projects and will not directly count toward a student's final grade in the course. This, however, does not mean that the formative work doesn't count at all. As most students will find, those who engage with the course and actively work toward becoming a better reader and writer by regularly practicing their skills in their formative work tend to perform better on their major essay projects. Students who don't practice their skills in their formative work tend not to do well on their major essay projects. Regular, purposeful practice, that is, has a direct impact on one's performance. While the various activities and readings we will complete are designed to help students master the skills and concepts necessary to write successful college-level essays, students will also have the opportunity to revise any of their major essay projects to improve their performance on these summative projects. This opportunity is available to all students in our class. However, students who do not meet the minimum standards for a given major essay project indicated by earning a 2 or lower will need to revise their draft to meet the minimum standards. A student's final grade in the course will be based on the combined scores of their polished drafts of the 4 major essay projects. All right, so I want to go ahead and clarify this policy and to provide a little bit of context. So I've been working with a form of no points or percentages in my grading policy for the last 5 or 6 years. And each semester I fine tune it, and I'm working to make it better. But the reason I have done that is because I've noticed, and I'm sure you all have noticed to some degree, and many other educators are noticing, and this is becoming a bigger thing among education or among educators, is that when we are using points and percentages and letter grades, typically what happens is that we're then conditioned to focus not so much on the content or the skill that we're trying to learn, but rather the end result. We're just trying to get enough points to pass. We're just trying to get a good grade. Doesn't matter if we actually know the material, doesn't matter if we learned anything, just as long as we get a good passing grade, that's the only thing that matters. However, with a class like this, where we're actually trying to become better writers, it's really important that you are examining the process of becoming a better writer if you're actually to get better at it. Now, with writing, just as with many things that you may have engaged with in your life, if you're trying to get better at it, you have to practice. You have to practice. And the thing with practice is you can't pretend to practice. You can't fake practice if you're actually going to get better at something. Most of the time you can't do it, right? So just look at any time you've actually tried to get better at something, you can't pretend to practice and actually get better at it, typically. So when we relieve the pressure, when we take away the end result sort of aspect, when we take away the points, then that relieves that pressure, and we can focus less on the outcome and more on the process of actually becoming a better writer, and to actually become better at that particular skill or that particular ability, right? So the only things that count toward the final grade in the class are the 4 polished drafts of the 4 major essay projects. Now, I call them polished drafts rather than final drafts, just because if we say final draft, that implies finality, but usually there's still more work to do on those drafts. So I prefer the term polished drafts, because when we polish it up, it means that we've taken care to make it look good and where it's ready to share with other people, but we also know that there might be more work that we might put into it, right? So the only things that directly count toward your final grade are the 4 polished drafts for each of those major essay projects. Now, what that means is that all of the other work that we do in this class, the reading comprehension activities, the various discussion boards, even the drafts of the beginning drafts of our major essay projects, are all meant to be opportunities for practice. And they don't have any points ascribed to them. And if a student attempts something like in one of those formative bits of formative work, and they don't get it, then why should that student be penalized if they're trying to learn that skill or learn that ability? You tried something, it didn't work, why should points be then deducted from you? So I don't think points make sense if we're trying to learn. So again, if you try something in your formative work and it doesn't work out, then all I'm asking you to do is to examine, okay, why didn't that work out, and to try it again. And that trying it again without worrying if you're going to be penalized or not is going to help you actually learn that skill. So then when it comes time to work on your polished draft of any of the major essay projects, if you've been practicing all along and you've been working to understand the concepts and understand the skills and to improve your abilities within that, then chances are you're going to perform better on those polished drafts. So with that in mind, because there are no points, I can't deduct points from anybody. So if a student needs more time to work on something, so we have our weekly Sunday deadlines, but say you've been working on it all week and you just need a little bit extra time to get it completed, that's okay. All you need to do is just let me know, hey, Professor Leis, I need a little bit of extra time to complete this. I can't deduct points from you for being late, right? Because there are no points. They don't exist in our class. So great, you need a little bit extra time, no problem. The only thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is staying on top of everything, right? You don't want to fall far behind where then it becomes really hard for you to catch up. But If you need an extra day or two on certain things, that's no problem. I want you to be able to take that time so that you actually submit something that you're proud of. So my students overall tend to view this mode or this method of assessment very highly overall. So if you're a little skeptical at first, that's okay. If you're a little confused at first, that's okay. This is a different approach, and I understand that we may need to get familiar with it in order for it to make sense to us. That's okay. So just stick with me, hang tight. But if you do have any questions, let me know. Now, again, the reason why my students tend to prefer this method to the traditional points system that we may be used to is, again, it shifts our focus from the end result of the points, the grade, rather, and focuses on to the process of becoming better writers. Now, my sincerest goal is to help you all complete the highest quality piece of writing that you've ever written to date in this class. So by the end of the semester, it's my goal to help you produce the highest quality piece of writing that you've ever written in your life up until this point. Not that you'll ever write, because you're going to, after this class, you'll finish and you're going to go on to other classes, you're going to go on to other schools, you're going to go on to different, into your field, whatever the case might be, and you're going to continue to grow and you're going to write better things in the future. But up until this point, it's my sincerest goal to help you all produce the highest quality piece of writing that you've ever written. So in order to do that, we need to understand that we need to practice, and we need to do that practice in good faith, and we need to do it seriously. But I also want you all to have the freedom to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes without necessarily being penalized for that. So, all right, y'all. Well, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. I'm available to address questions. I want to hear your questions. So send me a message here in Canvas, or you can send me an email at my Long Beach City College email account. But once we begin working with the course, this should become a little bit more familiar. But if not, if you do have any questions or you are confused, let me know. All right, y'all. Catch you later.